Welcome to Sew and Tell, where sewists from fashion theater and indie sewing bring their different perspectives to the hottest topics in the sewing community. I'm Meg Healy.
I'm Amanda Carestio.
And I'm Kate Zaynard. Today on the podcast, we'll be discussing sewing for kids, and we have a very special guest, Lindsay Essery of Ellie and Mac Patterns. Welcome, Lindsay.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Mm-hmm.
So after we talk sewing for kids, we'll share some sewing inspiration and give you a chance to share something too. But before we get started, how's everybody doing today?
I think we've determined that we're all hot.
Yeah.
So
We were talking before we were recording and just how sweaty and hot it is.
Meg, you are positively glowing.
Mhm.
Thank you. It's the sweat sheen, just humid. It's very humid here in Toronto right now. Is it humid over there too in Nova Scotia, Lindsay?
It is. It's just ridiculously sticky. We don't get the heat like this very often. And it's a little earlier than we normally get. So we're all just trying to get through this couple days so we can, have the cooler breezes again. But it's sticky.
Time to sew some swimsuits, maybe? I don't know.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Short shorts. I just want some short lounging shorts.
I know. We were going for a walk on the weekend, Julia and I, and there was kids playing in a splash pad, and I was this close, I wanted to run in there. It looked so fun and so cool.
For sure.
Just, a couple 30-year-olds just splashing around. I think that's allowed.
For sure.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah, the rules go out the window when it's this warm, for sure.
100%.
But don't swim in the rivers because that's how people drowned.
Oh.
That's my warning for the people in the Pacific Northwest from having lived there for a little bit.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh.
In really hot weather, there are a lot of warnings out there not to jump in the rivers because people do that and then they drowned.
Oh my gosh.
So don't do that.
Oh, no. Oh, wow.
You can cut that out if it was too depressing.
Right, let's...
Dun, dun, dun.
And moving on.
And on a more uplifting note.
Next. Well, should we hop into sewing for kids?
Yes, let's.
Yeah.
I am excited about this topic, and I was just thinking about it, that this is another one of those podcast moments where I am definitely being totally self-serving and that I'm hoping I'll get inspired to sew more for my kids. But I will also note that when we, a couple of months ago, we asked for input regarding future podcast topics, and someone did actually request sewing for kids. So this is not just for me. This is for our listeners also. So let's kick it off. I think that sewing for kids is something that for me kind of feels like a should, like something I should do, but I don't. I really, when I'm sewing and when I'm going, it's like it has to be really inspiring and I want to get to the finish line. And sewing for kids just has not felt that way for me. When I do sew for my kids, it's lovely, it's fulfilling, it's super special. When they wear the clothes I've made them, it's just really touching. And I've had some wins, but I haven't been able to really prioritize it. And so I'm hoping we can talk through some of those reasons, talk through some of the ways that it is fulfilling and why, it's how it can become part of like a regular sewing practice. And yeah, all things sewing for kids. Let's start with you, Lindsay. I know that you have designed quite a few patterns for kids, and I was curious, kind of what's your design approach?
Well, I think for me, I have 4 kids, and I started when my first was an infant. And so it's interesting that you say you struggle to sew for your children because I would struggle to sew for myself. I just was always, I was always motivated in making those cute, clothes that were boutique kind of inspired and things maybe I couldn't go afford at the time because I was staying home. So I was extremely motivated to get out there and sew for my kids. And I loved the compliments that would come and like the special memories. it would make. And I was sewing for my children and then as a business first. So it kind of translated over when I began designing. And I would say that knowing first about the fact that kids are all about comfort, and if I made something that wasn't comfortable, it wasn't going to be worn. And then second, knowing that connection of how the child wearing that connected me to a memory was really also a driving force. So when I design something, I kind of try to keep both of those in mind. Like, okay, where would the children wear this? Can it be made both special occasion and casual with a switch of fabric? Can it be versatile? Can they sew the seams on the outside if their children have some seam sensitivity? Because I definitely have a few children who, struggled with some sensitivity issues. And it just makes your life so much easier when you can throw those seams on the outside and, still make the garment look right. So yeah, I think that's definitely how I come at it in my mindset. Comfort first, then, how can it make a memory? Because I think that's kind of part of sewing for your own children, at least.
Do you feel like, I'm not sure how old your kiddos are. Do you feel like you were sewing more for them when they were younger and it's kind of tapered off as they've gotten older? Because I think that my kids' age does have something to do with how inspired I am to sew for them. Namely that I know they're going to end up with holes in the knees and spaghetti sauce everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
My children are almost 20 is my oldest daughter. And then I have a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old son, and then also a 9-year-old daughter. So I have 3 girls and a boy. Really, to be honest with you, they're all aged out of me sewing for them. They're picky about their clothes and what they wear. So I value all those things that I made and the photos I have of that. And I think they do when they look back on it, they'll want to look at the pictures and smile a bit and chat about it, which is special. But I don't think they'd really love me doing it now, which is interesting because the patterns we design, go up to tweens and teens and then fade into adults. And I'm always thinking about, would my daughter wear this? Would my son wear this? And how can I make it a little bit cooler? Right? Like for the tween in mind as well, even though mine wouldn't do it. I don't know. Some do though.
Yeah. I think there's part of me that's like, oh, well, I'll sew more when they're kind of tweens and a little bit older. And I hadn't really factored in the fact that they probably won't want me to do it at that point.
It seems like it depends on the kid.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, for sure. Have any of your children picked up sewing themselves?
Not yet. I would say that my oldest and my second oldest, so my 19-year-old who's almost 20 and my 13-year-old, they both did it a little bit. They kind of tried their hand at it, but it wasn't like love. And I'm very much be your own person kind of a parent. So
oh, for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really think any of them are going to follow in my footsteps based on their interests and their current likes, but we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah. So, Lindsay, are you currently developing patterns? I know you're doing a little bit of both. You're doing adult and kids patterns. What's the mix for you? Is it kind of 50-50 or has it kind of shifted back and forth over the years?
Well, I think that the main goal at the moment is to have an overarching collection of things that kind of balances. So we had a lot of kids patterns because that's where I began and that's what I was comfortable with. Kids are a little bit easier to design for based on body shape. But when I got a little bit more brave and dove into adult designing, we would have that request to expand those options. And so there's quite a bit left to expand in our adult clothing, just even at a basics sort of a level, more bottoms for sure, things that maybe I wasn't as comfortable designing. But as you learn new skills and you get better, right, you start to add more things like that. So we still do draft children's patterns, but I would say that we are trying to expand our straight fit adult collection because it's a little bit slimmer in the offerings than say our curvy fit adults or our children.
Got it. Meg and Kate, question for you. Have you sewn much for kids?
I have not done a lot of kids sewing.
Yeah.
I've been like racking my brain trying to think of examples. And I remember making a Little Mermaid costume for my niece when she was wee tiny, like 5 or something, and she just turned 18, so it was quite a while ago. And then I've done a couple of things through the magazines, both for CME and Sew News, that were kids. We took our Up in Arms blouse, which is a very popular pattern, and had it redrafted for girls. And so I sewed that up in a nightgown version and a shirt version, and we had my goddaughter model it for the magazine, and it was adorable. And then I remember making a little baby dress and embroidering it for CME at one point. But those are the only ones I can really remember. My godkid's mom is a seamstress, and I always feel like it would kind of be stepping on her toes a little bit, even though she doesn't really sew for them except for Halloween. So I always feel like it would be a little weird to be like, hey, I'm going to make your kid some clothes. And then my niece lives across the country. So it's kind of hard to sew for somebody that you don't see and you can't measure and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
For sure.
So for me, it's kind of a foreign world. So I'm finding this whole thing very fascinating.
Yeah, at first I was thinking, oh, I never sew for kids. I just have sewn a couple like minky baby blankets with their names embroidered for friends. But ironically, I actually just got a text this morning. It was like meant to be. We were recording today, and it was someone like, "Hi, Meg. I want to give a gift to my friend's niece, but I want it to be handmade and local. Like, would you be interested?" Like, it was just so weird. Like, just the so I was gonna say I'm too busy, but now I'm like, maybe I will, because I want to practice for, I hopefully will be making lots of little baby clothes soon in the next coming years. So, but I think I'm going to be making a lot. But thinking about, I actually have made a ton of kids clothes, because when I worked at the dance and skating shop, I was making tiny leotards and fitting custom dance clothes for kids all ages from 4 to 16. So I can sew like a little kid's leotard and tutu with my eyes closed, but I just didn't think of that. It actually kind of is sewing for kids. So
Totally.
I guess, but it's a lot easier with stretchy spandex fabrics for sure.
Always.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's just, I can't, they are so, I'm getting more interested in it for sure. For me it's just like the fit. I'm just like really unconfident in like the fit. I even when friends have children and I'm sure I don't know, like I look at like, what does this month old, like I just am worried about fitting.
Yeah. Fitting is a thing for me too, because I feel like, especially when kids are really young, you make special things and then they fit for like 10 minutes and they outgrow them, which in my technique was always to make things like bigger.
Oh, yeah.
And then but my daughter, I made her this one special dress for a friend's wedding, and she was not even 1 yet, and she wore the dress, and then like she was 3 and she could still wear the dress.
Wow.
Because I had made it so big.
That has some range.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it ever really fit perfectly. So I think that's been a deterrent for me, but because they do outgrow it quickly. But there's a lot of ways that I've found it really fulfilling, for kind of special occasions, for Christmas gifts and Christmas PJs, that kind of thing. But I will say that I have found it to be pretty fulfilling. Also, very fast. I feel like, especially when kiddos are very little, we're talking very small pieces of fabric.
Yeah, you could like use scraps, like little, scraps from fabrics. Yeah.
And, and you can make one, and then if you like it, you can crank them out and make a whole bunch, for those basics. But I'm also hoping that as my kids get a little bit older, that I will be able to, I've found as a sewist, it's so fulfilling to be able to accommodate my body in the ways that it's not, a standard body, a normal body. And I'm really hoping that I can use that for my kids. They probably won't want to have anything to do with that. But I will, I will be able to offer them that if they need that. And I think that that's a really important way for kids to feel special and, and be able to, in a really practical sense, to make them clothes that they'll actually wear and be comfortable in. Any other particularly fulfilling parts of it? I'm trying to get inspired here. Come on, guys.
As somebody who does embroidery and has I feel like there are so many options with kids, and this is going to sound really ridiculous, but I have a certain aesthetic for myself, and it tends to be not particularly cutesy, except in certain circumstances, like when I'm making pillows for my cats or whatever. But with the kids, you can get in there with the teddy bear designs and the
cutest little embroidery designs.
Yes,
for sure.
Exactly. And you can sort of embrace all of those things that you're just a little bit too mature for yourself. And I always like that, because I'm, it's like my aesthetic for what I wear is different from my aesthetic from what I like.
Right. I'm the same way.
So sometimes, yeah. So there's something.
Yeah.
Also, for what it's worth, when I was in my teens, my mom didn't make a lot of clothes for me, but she made costumes for me, because I did kids theater when I was a kid. And so I have several pieces, and I mean, she was not a big sewer. She just wasn't. And the things that she put together 2 separate pairs of wings for me when I played a bird in 2 different plays. And one of them was actually feathers, and one of them was this hideous collection of organza and lame and all of this stuff all layered up. And
that sounds amazing. That sounds like I would wear that.
It was totally amazing. And she actually made it for me and 2 other girls in that case. And, I was always really grateful to have a mother who could, if not, put me together like a super fancy wedding gown or something, to have somebody who could, if I was like, well, I need a 1940 style dress in a really ugly color, and there's no way I'm going to find that at a thrift store, my mom could go and find me a really ugly color and make me that dress. And that was really valuable for me. So I don't know where your kids are headed, Amanda. I really don't, but I know that your daughter's done some plays. So you never know.
I know. I'm never sewing lame. I'm not going to sew lame for her. I love her so much.
Don't do it. It's so terrible.
Lindsay, I'm curious, what was like the very first thing that you sewed? Like, so you've had your first child and you want to start. So what's the first thing that you made?
I think I went and bought like one of the dollar patterns from Joann's. I was all excited. I loved that sale, right? That's why I transferred that idea to my site. And so I, had my little patterns, and I'm pretty sure it was like these cute basic bell bottoms with an elastic waist and like a little ruffle hem at the end. So it shouldn't have been too difficult, but I'm pretty sure I sewed it inside out like wrong the first time and had to go back and do it again. And I didn't know that I should finish the seams. So when we washed it, it would fray, inside. And then it had like this peasant type top. And I think that was the first time I ever tried knit. And at the time it scared me to death. And I only had a sewing machine, which you can totally do if you have some knowledge, but I didn't. I was just winging this. And so it did turn out, but it was kind of a hot mess. She loved it. It didn't matter, but I enjoyed the process. And I think from there I was just like, it's going to get better. I really liked it because she felt in love with it so much. So I still have pictures of that one.
Oh, that's so cute.
That is cute. Another question for you, Lindsay, if you don't mind sharing. What are some of your top kids' patterns?
That's a good question. I would say the going home sweater has been very popular, but it's been around a long time. So I don't know if it's just based on the fact that it's a great basic or if it's, something beyond that, but it has a couple options of length, and it can be a dress and it can have a band. And I think it's just a great comfort piece. And again, I always come back to that, I know, but I think that if you can nail the comfort part, you can dress it up, you can make it casual, you can throw some leggings with it, you can really, like you said, crank them out once you get that fit down for your child specifically. So I would say that's been really popular. The Duchess jacket has been quite popular. I was a little surprised, and it was, one of, I guess it wasn't my first woven pattern, but it was more like one of my first detailed woven patterns, that was a little bit trickier, I guess I would say, both in designing and for the sewists themselves. But people love it. And I think it's really cool to see all the different ways you can make it. Like I said, again, from really dressy to kind of more casual. So I would say those two on different spectrums have been quite popular.
Cool. I would like to say that the way that you described, like, criteria, comfort, lots of design options, that's pretty much how I shop for patterns for myself.
Oh, me too now. This year, definitely too.
Pretty much no different.
Yeah.
One thing that that I hadn't really thought about, I think one of my first patterns that I did for my daughter was a print pattern. I'm not a very good tracer. So, I just cut that thing out. And then, then I only had one size. And I think that that's
like a tissue pattern.
It was a tissue pattern.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that it just hadn't occurred to me too, to think about the longevity of the pattern. And we recently had an article in Sew News about using a projector.
Oh my gosh,
and I've seen, I'm a member of a projector group, and like that makes so much sense for kids. Patterns, just changing the size of the.
Do you have one, Lindsay?
I don't, but my team does. And I'm telling you, I just think it makes the most sense. It's the most brilliant thing that's come along. Totally. You don't have waste of paper anymore, right? You don't waste your ink. You're not printing. Yeah. I mean, it has been, in my mind, such a great thing because you are reducing your time because you don't have to print and assemble, right? You just project straight down and you cut that pattern out and you can do it over and over again. And if you need a different size, you use a different size, right? And you don't have to store it. That was so difficult trying to store those paper patterns. Ugh. It's just, like I said, I think it is a game changer in the sewing industry. I also think that it will save you so much money in the long run when you think about paper and ink and time, because they're not overly expensive. Yeah. I mean, they're not dirt cheap, but they aren't overly expensive. And I really think investing in one is so smart. I do. 100%.
I'm coming around.
Yeah. I'm still a bit intimidated by the whole process, but I think I will eventually get one. I can just see myself eventually.
Especially if you're going to make some kid clothes.
Absolutely.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Yeah, because if I have something big, like I just don't know. Yeah, you need a really big table. I guess the calibrating of it all just really mind boggles me. But like for swimsuits and stuff, like I'm making a lot of like undies and stuff like for that. It seems like super easy.
Yeah. And there is a whole Facebook group that's devoted just to having all that information. It covers different types and it gives videos. And I know they answer questions.
Well, I think I need to join that.
Yeah, I think it's sewing with projectors or something like that, but it's a great group for resources. Absolutely.
Final question. And okay, this one is completely just a personal problem of mine. What do you do with these special clothes after your kids have outgrown them? Because I can't figure that out other than just, keeping them for posterity, potentially other kiddos down the road, grandkids, all of that. Any special tricks or ideas, Lindsay?
Yeah, I've always been entrepreneurial minded, and so I always sold them afterward. There was a few that I kept, but to be honest, like it was, in my opinion, like I was investing in being able to buy more fabric and supplies to make more things. Yeah. So I would, I had my PayPal account. We're talking back eBay days. So, she would wear it a couple times and then I would, wash and press it and take those photos and ship it across the country. And then I just used the money in my PayPal account to buy more supplies. So it was a good process for me, but I'm not super sentimental. So for someone who is, I do have some good ideas. So you could like have a time capsule, sort of we have like these cylinder cans that are time capsule sort of things, and you put special things in them over the years. So your kids will have a little special memento to go through. And so I put like special things in there, I would say. You can also do like a chest or, some kind of box. And that's just a fun way. My kids like to kind of dig through theirs every now and then and have a little chat about the special moments we've shared.
Cute.
And then the other option I thought, and I've seen other people do this, I haven't personally, but I liked the idea. So let's say they had like the going home sweater. It was super cute. They had the panel that they loved that had some kind of saying that was, memorable to them, or maybe they wanted to wear it every day and now they can't. So I've seen people make them into quilts. So they'll save maybe a bundle of their clothing.
Oh, yeah.
From different ages. And then at a certain point, they'll cut them into squares and have either someone else or themselves quilt it up and make kind of a special blanket. I thought that was a good idea. Like I said, I didn't ever try it, but that would be really sweet, I think, in a way.
I love both of those ideas.
Yeah, or even like a photo album, and then if, like you can, like a swatch from it.
Yeah.
So I guess if it's, if it's like worn to the part where you can't like, I don't know. Yeah, those could be some things.
Yeah.
I have trouble even going through my own closet. I'm like, oh, I know.
I know.
It like doesn't
everything.
I just can't.
Well, all right. I'm getting there. I'm feeling kind of inspired. Hopefully it's inspiration, not just guilt. It's a fine line. But thanks y'all so much. That was a great convo. Let's take a little break and then we'll come back and talk about some sewing inspiration.
All right.
All right, now it's time for our SewJo segment, which is our favorite. It's when we talk about what's giving us our sewing mojo at the moment. So let's see. Amanda, I'm putting you on the spot. You go first.
I think this is the one year or the one time of year that shorts are my SewJo. Literally, I think it only happens one time per year, and that time is now. Yeah, I actually I ordered some fabric. I haven't sewn a lot for me much this summer. I think we've just been too busy getting out and about, but I ordered some fabric and I realized that I had ordered this same exact fabric 3 times. And
you didn't realize it when you were actually buying it?
No, I did. I wanted it for more garments. That was the first question I got on my stories. Funny. But yeah, I just, every time I wear this one shirt, I'm like, oh, I should make some more stuff in this fabric. And it's pretty easy to get. It's Robert Kaufman linen. So yeah, I'm going to make some linen shorts. Super inspired by shorts. It won't happen again till this time next year.
All right. How about you, Lindsay? What's giving you your mojo?
I think I'm really into all the flowy things right now. I love the the kind of twirl, boho style flowy things. I've seen quite a few and been drafting some patterns in that route. But yeah, I love kind of things that aren't super close to my body. And for the kids, they tend to like to have the loose fitting things as well. So yep. It's totally where I'm headed right now.
How about you, Meg?
Well, yeah, speaking of flowy things, this morning I saw Helen's Closet just put out a new pattern and I just love it. The Reynolds dress and top. It's similar style to the Oso tank that we have, but I like that it has darts, even though I usually hate sewing darts, but if I just wanted a single fabric, and I liked how the dress version with the side slits just really, really appealed to me. I'm probably going to make more of just the dresses since I made a million Oso tanks, but the dress really, really spoke to me, and how it has like a shaped center back seam, so it's not as boxy. So I'm really excited to try that. I printed it out this morning. Can't wait to try that one.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm going to have to take a look at that.
Yes. Oh, it's just simple and just looks like it's screaming for linen in this heat right now. It'll be perfect. Yeah.
Linen for sure.
Well, as I was telling Amanda earlier, we in Colorado are going through while everyone else is going through the heat wave, we've got slightly cooler weather here. It's in the 70s for us. And I'm like, okay, we've got 2 more days. I need to sew something before it gets hot again. And I don't want to do anything that involves moving.
Right.
So I cut out a pair of Nini culottes that I've been meaning to cut out for approximately 10 months. And they're linen and they are going to be awesome. And I can't wait to make them and wear them because I love that pattern.
Yay, summer sewing.
Summer sewing. I'm probably not going to wear them because it's going to be too hot. And I'll be like, I can't wear these. They go down below my knees. But then we'll get into fall and then they'll be perfect.
For sure.
Thank you so much for joining us, Lindsay. It was really lovely having you on the show. All your great ideas about sewing for kids. I am definitely feeling more inspired.
Thank you for having me. It was fun. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I had a great time and I'd be happy to come back.
All right.
Awesome.
I know where I'm going to be doing my shopping at first for little kitty clothing. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And now it's time for our Sew and Tell segment where we ask you your opinion on our wonderful sewing topics. So last episode, we asked you, what do you look for in a t-shirt pattern and what's your favorite? We got a good number of responses for which we are very grateful. Thank you all. So Meg, why don't you start us off?
Yes, I always love, anyone that comments on anyone. We're so appreciative. We love hearing the feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And for this one, this was a great slew of comments because I got so many new ideas for t-shirts that I need to make. So it was a great list and resource too. So on Instagram, Maxie Max said, Union Street Tee by Hey June is on sewing repeat for me. Lots of neck and sleeve options too. I love that one. I haven't made it yet, but it's definitely on the list.
Yep. I love anything.
Shout out to Hey June too. We filmed something special with her recently.
Mm-hmm. Yes. We also heard from Highland Dance Mom who said, I have 3 favorite patterns for tees. The Helen's Closet Jackson, the Helen's Closet Elliot, and I couldn't leave out the Sew Over It Molly because I've sewn it at least 14 times.
14?
That's impressive.
That is.
My ultimate favorite fabric is from a local shop to me, the Fabric Snob's Boyfriend Knit. It's super wide, soft, and washes like a dream. That sounds lovely.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
We also heard from Busy Sewing Bee, who said, I love the Ellie and Mac oversized tee pattern.
Ooh.
I'm going to check that one out too.
Yeah.
For sure.
And perfectly fitting for our guest today, too,
Exactly. Lots of love for that t-shirt.
Yes.
Yes. So we had a lot of people mention the Jackson tee and also the plantain tee and the Mandy boat tee from Tessuti Patterns.
Oh, yeah.
So those really showed up a bunch of times in different people's lists. So I just thought I'd mention them specifically. But if you're looking for the perfect tee pattern, you should totally look at this post on our Instagram feed because there are really a lot of great suggestions on it. And then for this episode, we're going to ask, what are your sewing for kids tips and tricks?
Yep. Hoping for that same level of inspiration.
Oh, yes. Inspo too. Give us everything.
Yep. Fun episode.
Yeah. Very interesting. I kind of wish I had more kids in my life right now. I feel like if I call up my 18-year-old niece and be like, hey, you want me to sew for you? She's going to be like, ha, no.
Hey, guess what, Kate? You can totally sew for my kids and it won't be weird.
Awesome. I will keep that in mind.
Yeah, I thought I would never have so much fun talking about sewing for anyone else other than me.
I know. It's so fun. We also wanted to take a moment to tell you about something new and exciting on the Sew Daily Network YouTube channel. We have a new series called Stitch Lab, and we love it. It is so much fun. It's a brand new series. We cover essential techniques. We do experiments. We wear lab coats.
Oh, yeah.
We have special guests.
We're super cute, you guys.
We're so cute in lab coats. It's so much fun, and we have created that series with support from our friends at Singer. And it was hard work, you guys, but I had a lot of fun, and I learned a lot.
Me too.
Yeah. We kind of went in and we're like, okay, we'll do these experiments and, we'll be kind of doing the things that we do. And then we started working with these new feet and playing with new techniques.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually learning. It was really, really inspiring, really great educational time for us. So hopefully it's fun and educational for you guys too.
Yeah. Very much in the spirit of the podcast. I don't know. It was like, it really did feel like a video version of the podcast, which I love.
Yes. We only did one episode that we all three were on, just the three of us. And it was just like doing a podcast with video cameras on us. It was a lot of fun. So
totally.
Very special guests. Like it was, and they had fun with it too. It was so great.
Yeah.
Yep. So check it out. That is
Definitely
Stitch Lab on So Daily Network YouTube channel. And terrific episode.
You're going to love it.
I think you're going to love it.
All right. Well, thanks for talking with me, everybody. Until next time.
Until next time.
Happy stitching. One day we'll close it out right.
No, we won't. We never will.
We won't.
It is always going to be awkward and weird.
All right, bye.
For links to everything we talked about in this episode, go to our show notes page at sodaily.com/sewandtell. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at sewandtellpodcast@goldenpeakmedia.com or visit us on Instagram at sewandtellpod. Answer the Sew and Tell question, tell us your SewJo, or just leave us some feedback. If you enjoyed our show, please subscribe on your podcasting platform of choice. And please leave us a review, ideally a good one, because that helps listeners like you find our podcast. And tell your sewing friends about us too. Thanks for listening, and happy stitching. Sew and Tell is a Sew Daily podcast and produced by Golden Peak Media. It's hosted and produced by Meg Healy, Amanda Carestio, and me, Kate Zaynard. Daisha Clay is our producer. Director of podcasts is Jared Mayer. Tiffany Warble is Director of Content. Kelsey Ratterman handles our marketing, and Andrea Lotz does all things digital. If you'd like more information on sponsoring or advertising on Sew and Tell, go to goldenpeakmedia.com.